ready?
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And etc.
Now, Bears Etc., brought to you by Geico, with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Well, we witnessed one of the best passing days in Bears history by a rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams. Certainly the most yards thrown by a Bears rookie with 363. His 213 of the first half of the loss in Indianapolis were the most by a Bears rookie quarterback since at least 1978. The benefactors of a 33 for 52 passing performance were fellow rookie wide receiver Rome Odunze, tight end Cole Kmet, and wide receiver DJ Moore. With Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Welcome into episode 96 of the Bears Etc. podcast. We're brought to you by Geico. Tom, I never thought I'd see the day dropping a throw nearly 60 times. But you know.
Hey, and this podcast dedicated to Alex Brown.
Oh, you always got somebody. I like it. When we get into the triple digits, we got to get creative.
Right. The thing I like most about the passing of Caleb on Sunday was the new candidates. And when you look at how Roman Duze was targeted, how many targets Cole Kmet received, those are the types of guys that we've been looking for to get involved in the passing game since the beginning of training camp, beginning of the regular season. And I think the more use they get, the more unsuspecting the defense is going to become, because when you have DJ Moore and you have Keenan Allen and you have Gerald Everett and you have DeAndre Swift and Roschon and all the crew, everybody that can catch a pass, I think that gives a variety of weapons and a variety of ways that Shane Waldron can call passing plays.
Yeah, Cole Kmet spoke today about that very topic. A lot of newness on the offense. It'll grow, and he thinks they're close. And after getting involved to 11 targets and 10 catches, I understand what he's saying. He picked up 6 first downs in that progress, and it wasn't like it was a blowout time either, and a defense playing not to allow you to do anything big. It was still a one-score game.
Right. You know, the thing about it is you look at some of the catches by Rome, they were incredibly long-distance track balls in difficult coverage scenarios that he was able to make and secure the catch. And then some of the catches by Cole Kmet, they were physical conclusions to making the catch and then being able to stay on your feet and get a couple extra yards out of it to get beyond the first down marker. So it wasn't like it was just a pitch and catch type game for these guys. There was significant meaning to each of their catches.
And while the Bears did cobble together, 28 runs, the production was a little meager at 2.3 a carry. What can be fixed here?
Again, dedication to the point of attack, making sure the offensive line are all on the same page. I think the next 2 weeks, when they have the opportunity to use a volume snap count by Caleb Williams, I would suspect and I would hope that the run game would be a little bit more organized, and it was more of a point of attack success in getting the running backs into a position where they have yards before contact and yards after contact. And again, just to be, to repeat myself, I'm not looking for unrealistic results. I'm looking for 4 yards a carry, and if you give me anything more than that, I consider that gravy. But if you can have a 30 performance running back performance, you're talking about a lot of yards, and that how much it helps your time of possession, your field position, your scoring opportunity. So I'm excited to see what happens the next 2 weeks.
Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer here, and had a chance, as we do each Monday during the season, our status at Hallis with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Hey, thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining us once again. This is an off-the-wall question, but I know you using this word temperature. You like guys' temperature on game day and practice week, and we know your temperature's high at all times. After a game, win or lose, do you crash?
I wouldn't use the word crash. I would say that once I hit the rack, I do go to sleep pretty fast. But there's a lot of things that you have to do during the course of a game, and it's exciting, and you have to be at that level to be able to operate the right way. And but again, it's all part of being in ball.
I don't know how you sleep, because how do you turn your brain off thinking about, again, good or bad? Like, your mind must always be working 24/7.
I would say that we work. I do.
Not we, you.
Yeah. Well, I say we because I go home and with my family.
Okay.
So that's part of the we part. So that really helps me to be able to disconnect before I go to sleep. And then I usually get up early on Monday morning. I was up super early this morning, obviously about 3:30. So
Yeah.
I woke up and got going about 4 o'clock. So it was a good start. So I got a lot of work done this morning and got ready for the guys to come in.
And when you look at tape and you're looking at it with a very critical eye, how do you manage your own frustration when things that you think are going to work don't work?
Yeah, I mean, you always look at it one play at a time, right? So you look at one play and you see what was positive. Execution was good on that particular play, the reasons why. This guy's making a particular block and this guy's making a cut, or the protection was really solid, and Caleb delivered the ball, to Rome or whoever that is. That's all positive. And then you look at the breakdowns. What were the breakdowns when things didn't go well? In every game, there's always those situations where there's positive plays and plays you need to correct. And then what was the correction? Was it an individual technique? Was it a scheme thing that we could do better as coaches? So you're always working that. Did we put our guys in the position to make plays? And so those are always things you're looking at as a coach.
Every play can't work. So in some plays, if you go back to the well, and I'm not saying that's happened here this season or ever, do you toss the play? Like, guys, this play's just not working.
Well, I think you have to play off the plays you put on tape. That's an important thing you do, offense, defense, and special teams, is that you're always playing off of that, or you're going to unscouted looks. You're going to something that is not even close to what you've been doing in terms of how it looks. Now, it's certainly always going to be something we have conceptually that we've drilled during training camp, we have on our menu board. And then it's something you can put in that just looks different to the opponent.
As for the game, and you've mentioned it more than once, so the missed opportunities is a frustration in that the fact the Colts kept giving you opportunities to take control of the game and just couldn't quite do it.
Yeah, the first quarter really was just, we missed the field goal on the first one. We had the sack fumble, which the officials said it wasn't a sack fumble, so we missed an opportunity there. And then really just ended, 0-0 in the first. And then the second quarter, obviously, we give up, interception for interception, and then we end up, they get a touchdown off of the one, and then, the goal line, the four plays in the goal line there, we missed an opportunity there as well. Then we do a good job stopping them on D, and then we get a Hail Mary, and we have another opportunity there to, steal one there.
That was something.
Really good catch by DJ. Just got to, somehow punch it in there, and that's the way it went. And then the third quarter, was when we had the, we come out, and, we get the takeaway right away, get the field goal from that. Again, we're hunting touchdowns there, so we got to do a good job of sudden change. Let's get that touchdown. We stole an opportunity there, stole a possession. And then it was the special teams, right? We had the special teams, we had the roughing the punter. That was the big one. We had another opportunity there, and then we end up, throwing an interception right after that. And then we stopped them on D, right, to give it back to the O, and then we end up jumping off sides, on the punt return. And then we got to respond. It's a sudden change for the D. We got to respond there. They got a couple of big plays there with JT, and we got to do a better job cupping the ball and tackling with him. Very good player, but we got to do a great job of that.
And JT, everybody, is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Jonathan
that's from your
Taylor.
Days with the Colts. You gave him the initials, JT.
Yeah. And then really in the fourth quarter, the big play there was, offense had a couple really good drives, defense made some really good stops, and we just had the sack fumble, and that was on the 16-yard line, and we got to do a better job on D rising up, but we can't give the ball away like that in the fourth quarter. So, and that was the ball game, and our guys fought all the way to the end. We had some really good drives there in terms of 2-minute operations. So that was really good to see from offense and Caleb in the group, and and then at the end there, I thought we managed the game well at the end. Using that the 2-minute warning to really utilize some time there, and then we had our timeout. We just got to do a good job on D in 4 minutes there to get the ball back for our own.
What you just explained is this: every snap does matter. You don't know when it's going to matter, and as Caleb said at the podium, it's all in the details, and the details are so precise. Yeah. I mean, you could have had a completely different story.
No doubt. And it's all about taking care. It's all about the ball first. I know that's elementary to football, but it truly is that. And then really, working your run game averages got to be right because that puts you in front of the ledger.
Yep.
Your margins are better. And then really it's just about, the explosive plays. You eliminate the explosives and get them. And if you're always on the plus side of that, if you're on the plus side of all three of those things, you're going to be in good shape.
363 yards passing, most by any quarterback in the league this season. A couple games left here on Monday night, but dropping to throw nearly 60 times, that comes with some peril also. You don't necessarily want to do that unless is this what you envision what this team is going to be, more of a passing first type of team in the end? Is that going to be the identity of the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I would say that's not. I don't see it that way. I see it more like the opportunities were there. We had a 2-minute drive at the end of the half. We had those 2 big 2-minute drives, at the end of the game. So I really think those passing numbers are a little up because of that. And if it was a normal game, when we were ahead in that situation, I think it would be more balanced like we want it to be.
And pre-snap, post-snap, Caleb, definite growth, I would say, right? You can see it, the confidence at the line of scrimmage, making his checks, clock's winding down. How would you assess all of that?
Well, there's 2 things going on there. There's 2 weeks in a row he had to handle the noise. So he's handling the noise way better in his second, performance in there. That stadium is a loud stadium. And so he did a really good job with that in terms of the pre-snap operating in that environment. The offensive line did a much better job with the silent count because they were working that too. And so there's a lot of positives there. Then post-snap, just going through his reads and getting the ball out on time, it was really good. Again, there's certain things that he's going to learn from, in regards to post-snap. But again, for the most part, it was a level up and getting better.
Have you, in your opinion, in your experience, have you entrusted maybe a lot more for a rookie quarterback than the normal rookie quarterback just because of his football IQ?
Yeah, we trust Caleb, and he's done a really good job of working through the work week, in terms of his prep, in terms of his practice, in terms of his 48-hour prep, and that's only going to get better. When he's starting to learn, everybody's skill sets, as we get through this, and every week we got different adjustments for the routes and different things based on the coverages that we're getting, and he's doing a really good job communicating with the skill, and I think you can start to see that. Really proud of him the way he really utilized the layups, so to speak, with getting the ball to Cole and getting the ball to all the running backs, in the short part of the field and intermediate area. And I think that's really good for him, and that's why you saw all those yards. Plus we were in a 2-minute mode for the fourth quarter, and that's going to continue to grow.
A week ago, I threw some numbers, and I don't remember them now, but I think it was 4 of 11 in play action first 2 weeks of the season. But yesterday on our Game Night Live show, I broke down all those clean pockets with play action, and play action was working. So the amount of runs certainly impact that. Doesn't that make a huge difference, open up the offense?
Yeah, it does. It does. The run, it all starts with the run game.
Yep.
You got to be able to effectively run the ball and be committed to it, and then that's going to open up a lot of things, a lot of windows in other areas of the field, and we believe in that. We trusted that. We know that's true, and we have to keep working that.
So that 4-play drive from the 4, just the average person believes going sideways to get a yard is maybe not the plan, but teams do it. Atlanta did it last night too, I think it was. What do you explain? How do you explain that one, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we went direct, straight ahead, for 3 straight plays, and again, the execution's got to be there, and we should be able to get that on 3rd down, and we were hopeful that we were going to get it. And then the 4th down plays, again, was a play at the line of scrimmage that could be inside or outside based on what we saw. And Caleb was up against the clock a little bit and, went with the one. And again, we got to do a better job executing even in that play as a whole group.
Roschon Johnson, I think he had 60-plus yards from scrimmage, battering ram just like he did last year. Do you think he's in perfect place right now to start earning more snaps?
Yeah, I feel real good about our running group. I think the running backs are all 3 different and different skill sets, and I think we need to utilize those guys for their skill sets. And again, Roschon had a really good day yesterday in terms of getting downhill, of really going forward. Making contact at 3 and then getting 5, making contact at 4 and getting 6 and 7. So that was really good to see. And also in the passing game, him splitting 2, catching the ball in the check down area. getting his shoulders north and splitting two, and I think he's going to continue to do that. And Swift made some nice plays too in the passing game as well. So it's important to be able to utilize all three of those guys.
Back to the Montez Sweat sack. A big quarterback like that in the forced fumble. When they say, I know it's subjective, but we got tush pushes and we've got all these things going on in the league. What's the difference?
Well, when they deem that forward progress is stopped, and that's not reviewable in terms of that, it means it's down. So that's what they said, that's what they did. And again, I'm sure they looked at it, in New York too, and that was the decision they made. But again, I'm just really proud of that play in terms of how we did push the pocket, get to the quarterback, and we utilized our technique in terms of stripping the ball. And I think that the recovery was great too. So those guys did a really good job on that play. Again, put them behind the sticks. Again, we wish we would have had the ball there. It could have been a big difference in the game. But we end up, stopping the screen. DT did a wonderful job of coming out on the next play, redirecting to the screen and making a really nice play on that. And then we forced them to punt.
All right, lastly, the Rams coming in. Sean McVay, you always got to be ready for that guy.
Yeah, there's a big victory, on Sunday, and they can't big comeback victory. So it's again a big challenge. Obviously scheme wise, and going against those players, and they got a lot of good players, and it's going to be a big challenge for us.
All right, we'll talk to you about that game later in the week. Thank you, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Tommy, any thoughts on his perspectives?
Matt's got a lot on his plate. When you're thinking about paying attention to every single phase of football, offense, defense, special teams, and then he says he watches it slowly, one play at a time, that's a lot of investment in time of trying to look at all the elements of an offensive, defensive play, a special teams play, and how you can become more successful, what corrections you need to make, how to increase some of the fundamentals and the technical teachings that you need to incorporate during the week. And, I think that's the endless job of a head coach in the NFL, and it's something that you have to do every day, no matter if you win the game or you lose the game. But when I said bringing this team home, bringing this defense home, I expect big things out of them, because it's not going to say, okay, let's just bury our head in the sand and forget about making improvements and just show up here next Sunday. No, it's getting on the practice field starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Make those improvements that you need to make. Allow Caleb to continue to show the growth that he's been showing, and get out there against the Rams and please your home crowd.
All right, let's talk about the defense. The defense took the ball away again, taking advantage of that inaccuracy that Anthony Richardson is dealing with right now, living up to his own expectations. Jalen Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds, that interception in the red zone, in the red zone, that throw to the scoring drive took points off the board for the Colts. The Bears with the most interceptions in the NFL since last season. Edmonds is tied with Fred Warner with 5 over the last year plus, number 1 in the NFL. And you had Montez Sweat on a sack, should have been a forced fumble, as well as we discussed with Matt Eberflus. He's not going to say it, but I can say it. You can say it. I mean, because here's the thing. If Richardson would have completed the pass in that same situation, would they have given him the completion? You better believe they would be giving him the completion, so you better give him the strip sack.
Or if he would have intercepted the ball.
Yeah.
When you're not in control of the football, once it leaves your hands, when you're swatting it with the right hand of Montez Sweat, then, that ball's in the air and it's in play. So I wish that play would have counted. But, if you take the Bears' first-team defense that starts the game and you put them on the field, and they're one of the best defenses in the league, they can be super challenging at home, on the road. They can be in control of the pass rush up front, and they get profits out of the second and third level. But what I like about this football team, it's developing significant depth. And when you looked at, you get Chris Williams that had to come in the game. You had to put DeMarcus Walker at tackle when Andrew Billings went out. Gervon Dexter is playing a high brand of football. Jack Sanborn's coming in as the third linebacker and making plays all around the field. Jalen Jones had to come in when Tyreek Stevenson had to go out, but then Tyreek Stevenson comes right back in the game. So there's a wide variety of defenses you can play when you're developing this kind of depth. And you never know what kind of defensive line is going to line up, because you can put Booker in there at one defensive end and Sweat, and then you can have other defensive end type players on the inside. And, we haven't seen Daniel Hardy get enough snaps yet at defensive end, and he's another guy that could come in there and contribute. So as this season winds on, my expectations for the defense continues to rise, as do my expectations for Caleb Williams continue to rise.
Let's talk about expectations, because I think there's a certain segment of Bear fandom that believed it was going to be instant soup. Put some water in it, and boom, you've got chicken soup. It's not that simple. I think we all agree there was going to be some lows, and there's going to be some highs, and that will likely continue. Now, if you can get to a certain level and still be above water, so you can put your finishing gear in when things start going in the right direction more often than not, then you got a playoff team. But until those progressions come, until some things get ironed out and everybody's on the same page, and you win some games, I understand the frustration, but this was not going to be simple.
No, a word that you and I talked about last night, I heard you and Matt talk about it today, and we've even talked a little bit about today, is the word identity.
Yeah.
And I think when you're thinking about the Chicago Bears and this offense and where it's going, I think in the history of the Chicago Bears, the run game is always going to play an important role in the success of the Chicago Bears and how it influences what the offense can do. But when you look at this development of Caleb Williams and the type of receivers they have here, I think the pass game will complement the run game. And to me, I kind of am throwing it out there that maybe the new identity of the Chicago Bears for the time being and moving forward will be the passing game. It's not like you're going to ignore the running game, but when you look at the type of weapons they have, from the backfield to the wide receiver position to the tight end, it's not a shame to be in an effective passing game, because we've seen it around the league in the last 12 to 15 years, how important throwing the ball well is the teams that have playoff success.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a belief in the building that you do throw to score and you run to win. And I adopt that same thinking. That's my wheelhouse as a football fan.
I agree with you 100%, and I always will. However, when you talk about a rookie quarterback throwing the ball 52 times, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of faith in the coaches to believe that Caleb Williams can do it under that environment.
How often are you going to have 80-some offensive snaps? Not often.
A lot.
But it's not going to happen that way.
What is it? What has it been, like 53, 70, and
yeah.
now
but
84?
I think it was the 11th most snaps by a Bears offense since, 1970 or something like that. So, it's not often you're going to get that many snaps. The Colts are just victimizing themselves in some weird way in the first 3 weeks of the season, where the time of possession is so warped in favor of the opposing offenses.
If you have faith in your defense, though, you're going to be given that opportunity with turnovers, with sacks, with third down ending drives, with punts and everything else that goes along with giving your offense more opportunities of possession. Even in the 80s, when the Bears, I think, had 85 season, when the Bears had 72 sacks and the amount of turnovers, the only reason that we didn't have those numbers, because we ran the ball and we ate up the clock and we had time of possession. So it's just what is the DNA of your football team? And to me, the modern day DNA of the Bears we might need to check it every couple years.
Did you guys lead the league in time of possession?
Yes.
During that time?
We led the league in time of possession, scoring.
Yeah. But not just 85, though. Was there a stretch where you guys were just owning the clock? Well, kept your defense quite fresh to just, pin their ears back and go. Plus, you guys had leads. It's a crazy thing. I forgot to bring this up with Matt. I'll have to go back and circle back when we do our pregame interview with him before Sunday. But I don't think it's an oddity. I mean, it happens. But I don't know how it would make a difference in him, if at all. But Caleb's only thrown 2 passes with the lead so far this season. So working from behind, which, they've been behind the chains a lot. They were, again, yesterday a time or two. And that idea of turning first downs into first downs, or, what your yards to gain on second down is as important as yards to gain on third down, to be honest with you. It changes the playbook.
Well, going into the game yesterday, I think the Bears 33 plays, they were behind the chains on second and third down. And you got to think there's probably 50 first downs in there with whatever 100 and something plays total the Bears had. So, you're really fighting an uphill battle when you're talking about that second long and third and long, because then you give that certain attack advantage to the defense, and it's a more difficult style of offensive football.
Good news, Chicago United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. Anything else stick out to you about the game yesterday before we skip forward? Anything if you watched the tape?
It's still searching for answers in the running game. And, you did talk to Matt Eberflus about some of the plays called near or the goal line and if you're going to relive that whole scenario again, and what type of structure changes would you want to make to give your offense a better chance of getting into the end zone? And I think that's something that needs to be explored. Whether it's Caleb Williams under center and having a different intersection point between he and the running back, put them up under center so you have less room to get across the goal line for the quarterback in the running game. That'll be interesting to see how it is going forward. And, like I said, I like the development of depth on the defensive side of the ball. And if you can play a fresher brand of football on the defensive side, you may give your offense one or two extra possessions that they desperately need.
From your knowledge of how this is applied, the difference between a shotgun inside the 5 versus under center, there's run pass options, obviously, at the line of scrimmage. You can check to a pass, you can check to a run. There's benefits in a shotgun, but there's also great benefits in just grinding it out from under center and, surging off the ball. Where do you what do you prefer, obviously?
First and foremost, all my offensive linemen are going to be in a 3-point stance. I don't feel I can get the inertia off the line of scrimmage and have the physical element attached to short yardage and goal line offense if your offensive line is in a 2-point stance. To me, I wouldn't allow that to happen. Number two, it's the visualization of the play itself. When you shotgun snap in a goal line situation, that element of time, and when we talk about the element and the increments of time in an NFL play, a 1 second to 1.5 seconds, that can mean the difference between success and failure. And so when you shotgun snap, you have a lot more eyes watching the flight of the football. And then for that next step, you know exactly where the quarterback is going and what's going to happen at that intersection. When you're deceptive and you take a snap from underneath center, you think of all the deception that can go on there. Why do they run those wide receiver sweeps where they turn out and they hand it to them immediately, then act like they pitch it to the outside? Deception. When you give a play action and you have that intersection point that comes at a high rate of speed, it creates hesitation in the second level because they don't know what to commit to, and then that's a separation for the offensive line to have more successful blocking time. And it's just, the element of deception that close to the goal line, when whatever advantage you can give your offense, you have to work that business accordingly.
Yeah, I'm also big on this too. As long as you're, all in sync, you get to the line of scrimmage, you get in the center, you go. There's no in that situation, goal line, don't be letting the clock tick down. Go, just go. Is that smart? Or is that silly on my part?
No, you're 100% right. But, something that what you brought up to Matt Eberflus in your interview with him, and you were talking about the success of play action pass in the middle of the field, and a lot of those, Rome Odunze was the recipient of.
Cole Kmet, too.
Yeah. Okay. In the field of play, shotgun, when you have that intersection of that fake handoff point or the quarterback retreating out and making a fake handoff, now you're creating hesitation from the safety to the two linebackers. And if you have that instance of a defensive player stopping their feet, plays one. And you saw it a couple times by Rome, you saw it by Cole, and you see it by DJ all the time. So I'm not saying ignore shotgun. I'm just saying when I get to short yardage goal line, I'm putting in extra linemen. I'm putting in tight ends. I'm coming out of an I formation. I'm doing everything in my power to be powerful, because one thing that I was kind of disappointed in a little bit is they had mismatches at the point of attack or near the point of attack or at the line of scrimmage that the difficulty, it increased the difficulty for Bears to be successful.
Eventually, we assume the growth will occur where this team will be able to put points on the board, but right now every point matters. So you got to get the points while you can, and that'll help everything. It really will. It'll build confidence, field goals, yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
The difficulty of kicking a 56-yard field goal in the first series. If you do miss it, then you're giving the ball in great field position to your opponent at midfield. If you make it, you're up 3-0, and you're kicking, and you're giving your defense more of a attackable field position to take advantage of some of the inexperiences of Anthony Richardson.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, right here at home, driving access toward healthier communities through it all. And Steinhoffel's is an employee-owned furniture and mattress store. Visit any of their 4 Chicagoland locations in Vernon Hills, Crystal Lake, Downers Grove, and Harwood Heights, or shop online at steinhoffels.com. The LA Rams and Sean McVay come to town. I appreciate his knowledge as a coach, his experience, his intensity, his steel trap of a mind. He has everything in there football-wise that you would respect and appreciate for a coach of his magnitude, a Super Bowl winning coach. And he was at the podium yesterday recapping a win over the 49ers at SoFi, an upset, even though the 49ers were down a bunch of bodies, so are the Rams. And he kept using the word gritty. He used that word to describe his entire team, and specifically the play of his quarterback, Matthew Stafford, the play of his young defense, his play of a young punt returner who had never touched the ball in the NFL until a big return set up a play, scoring situation late in the game. I love his intensity, and so you can't assume anything but getting the very best from the LA Rams Sunday with a gritty attitude on the road in Chicago.
Yeah, but you know what you do? You got to punch them right in the face the first opportunity you get. And if the Bears defense, if the Bears win or lose the coin toss and their defense is on the field first, then you got to attack. You got to say, okay, this quarterback lacks mobility. They have some deficiencies on the offensive line. How am I going to put my defenders in the best possible position to get in the attack mode? I am not going to sit back and see what they want to do early in that game. I'm going to take advantage of the support of the loudest fans in an outdoor stadium in the NFL. I'm going to let them support my defense, and I'm going to come at you. And then as soon as one of my or two of my pass rushers get tired, I'm going to use my depth, and I'm going to keep coming at you and keep coming at you. So you can compliment yourself as being a gritty team, but I want to compliment myself as being a tough team that takes advantage of top talent on defense against a tough opponent.
Well, the thing too, you don't want to get the crowd tough on you as a home team either, because 1-2, and if it doesn't look good out of the gate, you know what it's going to sound like.
I agree,
Yeah.
but just think what it's going to sound like if the Bears come up with a sack in the first series to take them out of to get the ball back for the Bears offense. And I think the Bears crowd initially are going to be supportive. And they know that Caleb's going through growing pains. Listen, I think if they ignore the fact that this is still a young man playing the most difficult position in professional sports, that's a little naive. So be supportive and understand what they're going through, because I think the defense is going to give you a full 60-minute effort.
I also think it's going to be helpful to play back-to-back home games.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, listen, you and I are even tired of the plane right now. And our travels, planes, trains, automobiles, and Lower Wacker Drive. That's an inside joke that we can't talk about right now. But yeah, it's been exhausting, honestly, and I'm not playing. 5 out of 7 games, preseason included, plus a week in Canton, basically. That's a lot.
And you think of Matt talking. You got up at 3:00 in the morning and got right back to work. And luckily, it was a short, 40-minute flight from Indianapolis home. But like you said, it never stops weighing on your mind. Whether it's you and I trying to do our job and how much we continuously think about everything that goes on, a player does the same thing. If you play 84 plays and you have 2 bad plays, you don't think about the 82 good ones you had. You think about the 2 bad ones you had all night, and they can keep you up at night. So
well, yeah,
it's a nasty monster.
yeah. Those plays cost you a game.
They cost you a game. They cost you your job. They cost you getting criticized in front of your peers when you're watching it on tape. There's just a lot of elements to being a professional athlete that is the underbelly.
Vizzy Hard Seltzer, flavors for every vibe. Celebrate responsibly. Molson Coors Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, so a quick look at the Rams. The Rams defense, they've been drafting well. They've had an opportunity to draft because of their success. They had to peel back the salaries. Aaron Donald retired, but their defensive line is young, but they're pretty good, Tom. Watching Jared Verse, he's got my attention. He's playing with power, speed, and he's playing all over the place and making a real dent into – well, he did against the 49ers. I haven't gone back any further than that yet, but Jared Verse, their top pick, he's the real deal. Number 8, you're going to have to block him.
What did you hire him to do?
Yeah, rush the passer.
That's right. And so you're not teaching him the intricacies of an interior position where he's got so much on his shoulders that he's still trying to learn. It's second long, third and long. Use your explosiveness, your pass rushing arsenal, and try to get to the quarterback. So it's just like a couple weeks ago. Don't allow them to do what they want to do. You're going to have to have some big bodies on them, get the tight end position, get the offensive tackle position, and create stalemates at the line of scrimmage.
And Byron Young, another young player, and a guy I loved at the Senior Bowl, Braden Fisk. He's just lunch bucket. He'll be coming home, basically. He's from Michigan City, Indiana. So this is his country, and he's gonna bring full effort indeed. And then the Rams offense, other than the obvious, you got a veteran quarterback who's seen everything. Nothing's going to surprise him, and he's a guy that can cause a lot of pain if he gets in rhythm. That's the one thing about Matthew Stafford, a rhythm quarterback to a T. That defines rhythm quarterback. So it's going to have to be a disruptive day up front against an offensive line that's pretty banged up. What else do you see offensively?
You know, the thing about it is everybody knew what Cooper Kupp was capable of. We were introduced to Puka Nacua and what he did as a rookie. And so it's kind of a next man up mentality for the receiver position at the Rams because the quarterback position. The quarterback can put you in a position to succeed. You don't necessarily need all these reps with them because the quarterback is going to understand the protection. He's going to understand the timing of the play, and he has accuracy. But I do think he has mobility limitations.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if the Bears can put him in an uncomfortable throwing foundation, maybe change his arm angles, that's when, you can take a little bit of fire out of a quarterback like that. But, hey, there's no denying it. He's a good quarterback, and he's been able to develop some good receivers there. Good
running back in Kyron Williams, 3 touchdowns yesterday. Tutu Atwell at receiver had some big plays and also threw a pass. And there's a young man, Jordan Whittington, is a wide receiver, number 88, that has burst onto the scene for them, obviously with injury situations. So, yeah.
Injuries, next man up, especially at the receiver position.
A lot going on there. They also played a lot of one-back, 2 tight end against a 49er team that wants to sit in nickel most of the time. And the Bears like to do that too, but I'll tell you, man, Jack Sanborn, I cannot speak enough about this player. He gets limited reps in defense. He plays in special teams. He blocks on punt. He blocks on field goal. Does a little bit of everything, but he does a little bit of everything well, really well.
Well, it kind of shows you that the draft is not a perfect science.
Yeah.
Because here's a guy, you got TJ.
That's an understatement.
You got Jack Sanborn there. You get guys that are free agents, go undrafted, and my gosh, they're nothing but model citizens and great football players. And you want them on your team, and you want them to be part of your locker room, and every single time you give them that chance to show up, they show out big.
All right, we're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears, episode 96 of the Bears Etc. podcast, brought to you by Geico in the books. Special thanks to head coach Matt Eberflus each weekend. For Tom, I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.